Hey, what's up? My name is J.M. Chaley. Welcome to my channel. This week, I want to get into another creature spotlight, and I want to talk about werewolves. Now, I had given a disclaimer on an earlier creature spotlight that I was going to be delving into some of the more popular and prolific type of supernatural beasties in fantasy fiction if they are germane to the Unlife of Lisa Cooper. And werewolves is one such case. I did a creature spotlight on vampires, but I did my vampires because Lisa Cooper, who is the star of The Unlife of Lisa Cooper, is a vampire. So I wanted to promote the series and the lore through a creature spotlight. Creature spotlight, of course, is usually about showcasing supernatural beings and creatures that are unsung or rarely depicted in fantasy fiction or depicted wrong. But if there's a nice little plug for my series, I'll get into it. But it has to be germane to my series. So as such, I'm not going to get into the whole werewolf lore, Loup-Garou, all the origins of where they came from. So getting right into it, the origins of the werewolf date back to the time of Antiquity of Rome, when Rome was trying to take Ireland. Now, a Roman invasion of Ireland, which really actually historically didn't take place. Like, we didn't really see Rome take Ireland. But this isn't a history lesson, but I did use history to fuel my lore. So what I basically came up with is that the gods of Ireland, who for me are the Tuatha De Danann, did not want Rome and their Olympian gods coming into their land and stealing their worshippers. So how would the Tuatha De Danann keep this powerful empire out of Ireland, who was not a unified country yet, were still very tribal and warred with themselves? They didn't have their shit together to repel anything coming out of Rome. So the Tuatha De Danann, specifically Fliddish, who is the Irish goddess of the hunt, animals, nature, among other things, she stepped up and said, we have everything we need right here. We have wolves, powerful predators, numerous, hunting in packs, smart, very, very successful, resourceful, powerful predators. And with a little bit of magic from the Tuatha De Danann, she transformed wolves, some of them, not all of them, into werewolves. From there, these werewolves were loyal to the Tuatha De Danann. They were their shock troops, their soldiers. And they could, through their bite, spread the lycanthropy curse, or blessing, depending on whose side of the fence you are. I'm sure the Tuatha De Danann thought it was a great gift and a great boon. Not so much in modern times. We'll get to that. But these werewolves were able to repel the Romans from Irish shores. And they even repelled, in the years later, the English from Irish shores. But the problem came with modern weaponry. When the guns were built, when people figured out silver bullets and things like that, the tides turned and the werewolves couldn't maintain control of Ireland and just wipe out anyone that came their way. They were dealing with a lot more than an infantryman with a sword or a javelin. They were dealing with people that were armed with weapons, guns, and things like that. Now, eventually, the English came in and they began to hunt the wolves of Ireland into extinction. Sadly, this is true. This actually happened. The English, whether they did it on purpose or they just overhunted, they enlisted Irish wolfhounds. They wiped out all of the wolves in Ireland. And that destroyed their stock, what they could take from and spread their curse to, or their blessing to. And for the rest, they felled them with modern weapons, guns, and things like that. From here, the werewolves needed to survive. It wasn't no longer about the Tuatha De Danann and protecting their motherland. They were going to get wiped out. They fled Ireland and had to find other wolves, but all throughout Europe, wolves were being hunted. And it was getting pretty tough to find new stock to bolster their numbers. So the werewolves decided, what if we bite some humans? See how that works. So instead of a wolf that turns into a wolf man and a human, you've got a man that can turn into a wolf man or a wolf. Well, that experiment worked about as well as it did, because humans want the things that humans want, which isn't exactly the things that wolves want. Wolves probably just want to be left alone in the woods and hunt and live their lives and, be one with nature and all that kind of stuff. They've got these primal instincts where they embrace and love the land that they live in. Humans, they want shiny things. They want clothing and jewelry and possessions and things like that. So they tried to be careful about who they brought into the fold and chose to be werewolves, druids, rangers, and those types of people, woodsmen and stuff like that. But over the years, it was slim pickings. Not only that, but the expanse throughout Europe where cities started encroaching on woodlands, and you saw a lot of the traditional territories owned by wolves be cut back. It became more important for werewolves to thrive within cities instead of within the woods. But these new modern wolves, these new modern werewolves, who were mostly human stock at this point, they faced the same problem, which was hiding from people that would probably want to kill them if they knew they existed. So they needed more stock. And these modern humans, I say modern, now we're in the Middle Ages, right? They embraced more humans. And they weren't as particular, they weren't as picky as their wolf-based forebearers. So pretty soon the whole noble purpose of the werewolf was lost. The modern generations, most of them didn't even know about the Tuatha De Danann, as a lot of this stuff slipped away into mythology. And soon we march towards the modern day, and we see the werewolf trying to eke out a living and survive in a world where they're not the only supernatural being. Now, the werewolves will typically try to give other supernatural beings a wide berth because they don't want to deal with anyone else's stuff. But when it comes to creatures of darkness, like vampires, vampires hunt in cities, mostly. And they like the urban sprawl. And they like inserting themselves into a city in terms of leadership. They're whispering into the ear of a mayor. And werewolves running around messing stuff up for them is bad for business. So early on, when werewolves started encroaching into cities and taking human stock, the werewolves and vampires clashed. And it wasn't this whole, good versus evil thing, as much as it was, this is my territory and you're disrupting things for me. You're making it harder for me to hunt. They're both saying this to each other, and the exposure of one threatens the other. So vampires and werewolves have, for hundreds of years, not gotten along, to the point where now, in modern day, most vampire bleeds, most vampire territories have a kill-on-sight policy for any werewolf that is spotted, rumored, known to exist. They go all out against the werewolf. Werewolves are lycanthrope. They can pass their curse on with a bite. That's it. One bite, you're infected. Could there be people that are strong enough to shrug it off? Maybe. I don't know. I haven't explored that yet. Kind of like if you're exposed to a disease. Can you could some person catch it and be sicker than another person? Yeah. Is lycanthropy the same way? Maybe. We'll see. I don't know. Are there other types of lycanthropes in my world. Yes, definitely. Will we see them? Yes. We will see them in my series. I'm not going to go into them because I don't want to spoil. But you are going to see other were things. But I will say this, if you're following along the series of the Unlife of Lisa Cooper, you are going to meet such a lycanthrope in episode 23. And as of this recording, episode 19 is out. I'm probably going to release this video sometime when episode 23 is out, so 22 or 23, so yeah. I mean, if you haven't checked it out, definitely check it out. Did I mention it's free? First 3 episodes are free, and then, you know, you get 500 free tokens from Amazon. That's enough to get you through 23 episodes. That's easy. They're like 20 episodes or less. They're like 20 tokens or less per episode, and you get those 500 free tokens from Amazon. That was my little plug. Okay, back to werewolves, talking werewolves. So we're talking about their powers. Lycanthropy is a disease, but that's probably the last disease they're ever going to catch, because the lycanthropic form, once they have it, makes them, I don't want to say completely immune to disease, but I mean, the odds of them catching anything viral or bacterial or anything like that in the way of a disease is almost none. They're going to shrug things off. Alcohol won't affect them very much. If you see them in human shape drinking alcohol, it's not going to have a lot of effect. Same for different types of drugs. They have regenerative powers. They can heal. Their skin will actually knit itself back together if they're wounded. They have heightened senses. I'm talking about specifically hearing and smell. And they are very strong and they're very fast. Werewolves also have 3 forms. Now, one of the things I wanted to do is go back to the classic werewolf. You know, the stuff from the movies, like the classic horror movies and things like that, like The Howling and Bad Moon and some of these movies. I Was a Teenage Werewolf, Wolfman, all this kind of stuff that I loved. And give them that form, that Wolfman form. Now, this is more like a, you know, the Howling version than it is the Wolfman form. It's not just a dude in a, you know, with a fuzzy face. This is big snout, ears, you know, hulking, you know, the kind of the backwards, weird looking legs and stuff with the tail and all this kind of, you know, that's their Wolfman form. It's definitely bestial, right? And I wanted to get back and give them that form because I feel like we've seen too many werewolf depictions where they're just wolves. They're just wolves. Maybe they're big wolves. True Blood, they didn't give them the big Wolfman form. Twilight, they didn't give them the Wolfman form. There's other versions where they don't have the Wolfman form. Yeah, you need that. I like that. That's what I wanted. That's a werewolf, you know? So yeah, they've got the 3 forms. Human, Wolfman, wolf person, I guess, right? It's not gender specific, I'm sorry. Wolf person and wolf. The 3 forms. So yeah, that about wraps up werewolf. That explains it. That's how I do werewolves. That's how werewolves exist. Their origins are from Ireland, the same as the origins of vampires. Ireland. That's a coincidence. Okay, so if you like this video, please give it a like. And as always, subscribe. I post most Thursdays. And you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you like this shirt, you can buy it on my merch store. What else? Check out jmchaley.com and be sure to read The Unlife of Lisa Cooper and catch all this action. Werewolves now? Come on. What does this poor girl have to deal with? Oh my God. Okay, I'm done. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.